Invented by American entrepreneur Elon Musk in 2002, SpaceX provides launch and transportation services for satellites and other objects to and from Earth orbit. The program's objective is to create rockets and spacecraft that may be used again and again, thereby lowering the cost of and increasing public access to spaceflight. SpaceX, since its inception, has designed, built, and launched multiple rockets, including the Falcon 1, Falcon 9, and Falcon Heavy, and the Dragon spacecraft. It was the first private firm to launch a liquid-fueled rocket into orbit, the first private company to deliver a spacecraft to the International Space Station, and the first private corporation to successfully launch and retrieve a spacecraft from orbit. It is building Starship, a spacecraft to send people to the Moon and Mars, and has been contracted by NASA and other government organizations and commercial customers to offer launch services to low Earth orbit, LEO and beyond. In this video, we'll examine the history of SpaceX rockets in greater detail, beginning with the Falcon 1 and progressing through the Falcon Heavy and beyond. We'll take a look at how they're made, what they can do, and the significant advances that have been made so far. Let's take a look at how far SpaceX has come in its effort to revolutionize space travel. Just 1 year after SpaceX's inception in 2001, development of the Falcon 1 began. The business set out to design a rocket specifically for launching satellites that was both inexpensive and simple to mass produce. The Falcon 1 is a two-stage rocket that uses a single Merlin 1A engine to generate around 77,000 lbf, 340 kilonewtons of thrust in zero gravity. The rocket's maximum payload to low Earth orbit is roughly 1,270 kilograms, 2,800 pounds, and it was supposed to be tiny and lightweight, LEO. The first stage of the Falcon 1 rocket was built to safely return to Earth, allowing the rocket to be used again. Having rockets that could be used again was a major ambition for SpaceX since it would drastically cut down on the expense of launching satellites into orbit. In addition to being a proving ground for the company's reusable rocket technology, the Falcon 1 was designed to be a more cost-effective choice for clients looking to launch relatively small payloads into orbit. Despite high hopes, the first Falcon 1 launch in March 2006 was a failure. As a result of a fuel leak, the rocket was unable to reach orbit. SpaceX persisted with the Falcon 1 despite the setback, and eventually succeeded in enhancing the design in numerous ways. The second attempt to launch in March of 2007 likewise failed because the fairing, the outer covering of the payload, did not separate cleanly. There was a third attempt to launch in August of 2007 that too ended in failure owing to an unexpected engine shutdown. Following these setbacks, SpaceX made extensive modifications to the rocket's design, including the installation of a new, more powerful engine called the Merlin 1C. Fourth time was the charm for the Falcon 1, which made history in September 2008 as the first privately funded liquid-fueled rocket to achieve orbit after 3 previous attempts had failed. An important turning point in SpaceX's history was the 2008 launch of the Falcon 1. As so, it was a major milestone on the path to the company's ultimate objective of using reusable rockets to make space travel more accessible and inexpensive. The Falcon 1 will be remembered for more than just being the first privately sponsored liquid-fueled rocket to reach orbit. It also showed that reusable rockets may usher in a new era of space exploration, making trips to the Moon and beyond more accessible and inexpensive for the general public. The Falcon 1 was crucial in the evolution of subsequent SpaceX rockets like the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Using what it had discovered making the Falcon 1, SpaceX was able to improve its subsequent rocket designs. By successfully launching a number of businesses' satellites, the Falcon 1 also contributed to SpaceX's rise to prominence in the commercial space market. SpaceX's reusable rocket technology was initially piloted on the Falcon 1, and the corporation has since refined and perfected the system across all of its rockets. SpaceX's goal is to make space travel more accessible and affordable, and the reusable technology they've developed is a big part of that. The Falcon 1 changed the landscape of the space business by showing that a private company could successfully design and launch a rocket into orbit, a task that had hitherto been the purview of government entities. As a result of the Falcon 1's accomplishments, private spaceflight and the commercialization of space exploration entered a new era. The Falcon 9's development started in 2005, a few years after the original Falcon 1 project had begun. The Falcon 9 rocket was developed to be more robust and flexible than the Falcon 1, with the intention of allowing it to deliver heavier payloads into orbit and also to act as a launcher for the Dragon spacecraft. The Falcon 9 is a two-stage rocket with 9 Merlin 1D engines, each of which can generate around 1.7 million pounds of force, 7.6 meganewtons of thrust in vacuum. Because of its reusable design, the first stage can return to Earth after a launch and land safely. With its single Merlin 1D engine, the second stage is similarly built for reuse. The Falcon 9 was created to carry as much as 22,800 kilograms, 50,300 pounds to low Earth orbit, LEO, and as much as 8,300 kilograms, 18,600 pounds to geostationary transfer orbit, GTO. In addition to being more efficient than its predecessors, the Falcon 9 was built to be less expensive for customers looking to send moderate to large payloads into orbit. In addition, the Dragon spacecraft, which would transport both cargo and people to the ISS, needed to be launched by the Falcon 9. In June of 2010, on its maiden voyage, the Falcon 9 successfully reached orbit and released the Dragon spacecraft for a trial mission. The second attempt, in December of 2010, also achieved orbit, but the Dragon spacecraft never made it to the ISS. When the Dragon spacecraft successfully docked with the International Space Station on its third mission in May 2012, SpaceX became the first privately funded firm to accomplish this feat. The Falcon 9's first stage landing was a significant accomplishment. After successfully launching 11 Orbcomm-2 satellites in December 2015, the first stage of the Falcon 9 rocket was securely landed on a drone ship. As far as we know, this was the first time a rocket was able to land its first stage following an orbital launch. This success proved that reusable rockets could work, and it was a significant step towards SpaceX's objective of making space launches cheaper. Since then, SpaceX has released two updated versions of the Falcon 9, the Falcon 9 Full Thrust, with higher thrust and improved reusability, and the Falcon 9 Block 5, which is built to withstand 10 launches or more with only little maintenance in between. With its proven reliability, the Falcon 9 has been utilized for a wide variety of missions, from satellite launches to resupply flights to the International Space Station, and even the launch of NASA's Commercial Crew Program's Crew Dragon spacecraft. Upgraded from the original Falcon 9 that was launched in December 2015, the Falcon 9 Full Thrust saw widespread success. The rocket's Merlin 1D engines were upgraded to produce higher thrust, and it was more reusable and fuel-efficient than previous versions of the Falcon 9. To minimize launch costs and increase the frequency with which the first stage may be reused, the Falcon 9 Full Thrust was developed to carry bigger payloads into orbit. The first Falcon 9 Block 5 rocket was launched in May of 2018, and it is a more advanced variant of the Falcon 9 Full Thrust. With the intention of successfully launching 10+ missions with minimum maintenance in between flights, the Falcon 9 Block 5 was developed as the ultimate and most advanced version of the Falcon 9. Many upgrades were made to the Falcon 9 Block 5 in comparison to the Falcon 9 Full Thrust, including stronger heat shields, longer landing legs, and more thrust. Furthermore, it was built to fulfill NASA's stringent safety standards for manned flights. Launching the Crew Dragon spacecraft for NASA's Commercial Crew Program, the Falcon 9 Block 5 was the first rocket to receive NASA certification for crewed missions. SpaceX's ability to lower the price of rocket launches and make space travel more accessible was made possible by the development of the Falcon 9 Full Thrust and the Falcon 9 Block 5. These rockets were meant to be more reusable, dependable, and efficient than prior versions of the Falcon 9. The space business has been profoundly impacted by the Falcon 9 since its initial launch in 2010. The Falcon 9 has had a major effect on lowering the price of rocket launches into space. In order to make space exploration more accessible and inexpensive, SpaceX has been able to significantly lower launch costs thanks to the Falcon 9's reusable first stage. Because of this, private companies and government agencies now have more options than ever before for sending cargo into orbit. The Falcon 9 was instrumental in solidifying SpaceX's position as a frontrunner in the commercial spaceflight business. Numerous commercial satellite launches have been conducted with the rocket, solidifying SpaceX's reputation as a trustworthy and reasonably priced choice for clients wishing to launch payloads into orbit. Since the Falcon 9 proved that reusable rockets are possible, it has also had a significant effect on how we view space launches. This has disproved the long-held belief that it is impossible to send a rocket into orbit, return it to Earth, and then use it again for another launch. This success has sparked interest from other corporations and government agencies in developing reusable rockets, and it has also expanded the horizons of future space travel. Also, the Dragon spacecraft, which flew cargo and people to the ISS, and the Crew Dragon spacecraft, which flew astronauts as part of NASA's Commercial Crew program, both had their respective launches aboard a Falcon 9. These successes have shown that private firms can play an important role in space exploration, and they have paved the path for the commercialization of spaceflight. Falcon Heavy. 2011 marked the beginning of work on the construction of the Falcon Heavy, which came about several years after the launch of the first Falcon 9 rocket. The Falcon Heavy was developed to be a rocket that is considerably more powerful than the Falcon 9, with the intention of being able to lift significantly heavier payloads into orbit. This includes the transportation of humans to the Moon and Mars. The Falcon Heavy is a three-stage rocket that is powered by 27 Merlin 1D engines. Together, these engines generate approximately 5 million pounds force, 22 meganewtons of thrust in vacuum. After launch, the first stage is intended to be recovered and used again because to its reusability and the fact that it can touch down on Earth. In addition to being built to be used multiple times, the second stage features a single Merlin 1D engine for propulsion. The Falcon Heavy was developed to have the capability of lifting as much as 63,800 kilograms, 140,700 pounds into low Earth orbit, LEO, and as much as 16,800 kilograms, 37,000 pounds into geostationary transfer orbit, GTO. It was also intended to be a more cost-effective option for customers who want to launch very heavy payloads into orbit, such as satellites, space stations, and even spacecrafts to deep space. The Falcon Heavy was designed to be more cost-effective than previous rockets, and it was designed to be more cost-effective than previous rockets. The fact that SpaceX was able to design the Falcon Heavy with the possibility of transporting people to the Moon and Mars is a huge step forward in the company's mission to advance human space exploration. The maiden launch of the Falcon Heavy occurred in February of 2018, and it was a success, reaching orbit and releasing its payload, a Tesla Roadster and a spacesuit-wearing mannequin named Starman, into a Sun orbit. More than just a scientific triumph, this launch received extensive media coverage and captivated the public's imagination. In April of 2019, a second successful launch put 24 satellites into orbit for a wide range of clients. The Falcon Heavy's success in putting a Tesla Roadster into solar orbit is one of the rocket's most notable feats. The launch was a public demonstration of the capabilities of the Falcon Heavy and received much media coverage. SpaceX achieved a critical milestone with this launch, validating the Falcon Heavy's ability to place heavy payloads into orbit, paving the way for future human missions to the Moon and Mars. The Falcon Heavy has also been utilized for multiple commercial satellite launches, the first of which being the launch of the Arabsat 6A satellite. The U.S. Air Force's STP-2 mission was likewise launched using the Falcon Heavy, and it delivered many payloads into orbit. The Space Test Program 2, STP-2 mission delivered a range of payloads to various orbits, including a deep space orbit, demonstrating the Falcon Big's capability to launch heavy payloads to space. The Parker Solar Probe was launched on a mission to study the Sun. As a result of these successes, the Falcon Heavy is now more viable for use on deep space missions, which in turn has expanded the scope of possible space travel. Since its first launch in 2018, the Falcon Heavy has made important contributions to the space sector. Increases in the amount of cargo that can be sent into orbit are one of its most noticeable effects. With the ability to lift up to 63,800 kilograms, 140,700 pounds to low Earth orbit, LEO, and up to 16,800 kilograms, 37,000 lb to geostationary transfer orbit, GTO, the Falcon Heavy is one of the most powerful rockets in use today. The space industry was also significantly impacted by the Falcon Heavy's ability to carry out deep space missions. The Space Test Program 2, STP-2 mission, which delivered various payloads to a variety of orbits, including deep space, established the Falcon Massive's capabilities to launch heavy payloads into space. The Parker Solar Probe is currently researching the Sun. These achievements have opened up new opportunities for space exploration, and it has also helped to prepare the way for future trips to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. The Falcon Heavy's reusable first stage also has the potential to drastically cut the cost of deep space missions, which will make it more economical for corporate and government entities to launch payloads to deep space. This has the potential to drastically expedite space travel and open up new prospects for scientific inquiry, resource extraction, and possibly human settlement in deep space. Furthermore, SpaceX's aim of space exploration and the goal of constructing a self-sustaining city on Mars are both significantly advanced by the Falcon Heavy's capability to take humans to the Moon and Mars. The Falcon Heavy is blazing new trails for space exploration and has the ability to significantly quicken the rate of such endeavors in the years to come. The Starship spacecraft is one of the current projects being worked on by SpaceX. For human spaceflight, satellite deployment, and interplanetary travel, SpaceX is developing the Starship, a fully reusable spacecraft. The Starship was created to function as a spacecraft for point-to-point travel on Earth as well as a means of transport to the Moon and Mars. Both the Super Heavy first stage booster and the Starship second stage spaceship are currently in development for the Starship spacecraft. The Starship will be sent into orbit by the Super Heavy's reusable first stage launcher. After that, the Starship will be used to deliver passengers and freight to the Moon, Mars, and other planets and moons in the Solar System. The Starship spacecraft will have heat shields, landing legs, and other characteristics that will help it endure the vacuum of space. SpaceX's mission is to make human spaceflight more inexpensive and accessible, and the construction of the Starship is a major step in that direction. The Starship's totally reusable architecture could drastically cut the cost of space travel, allowing private and government groups to launch payloads to deep space and send humans to the Moon and Mars. The Starship spacecraft is also being constructed with Mars colonization in mind, as it is intended to carry people and cargo to Mars and set up a self-sustaining metropolis there. This would be an incredible achievement in the annals of space travel and might significantly quicken the pace at which space travel advances in the years to come. In conclusion, SpaceX's development of the Starship is a major advancement toward their goal of making space travel more affordable and accessible, and it has the potential to greatly accelerate the pace of space exploration, especially in the areas of human spaceflight and the colonization of other planets. Since its inception in 2002, SpaceX has made important contributions to the space sector. The Falcon 1, Falcon 9, and Falcon Heavy are just some of the cutting-edge rockets that have resulted from the company's efforts to democratize space travel. Launching payloads into space is now more economical for business and government organizations thanks to the reduced cost of space launches made possible by these rockets. Reusable rocket technology like that developed by SpaceX has also had a significant impact on how we see space shuttle missions and other similar endeavors. Launching a rocket into orbit, landing it back on Earth, and then reusing it for future launches was previously thought to be impossible, but SpaceX has demonstrated that it is achievable. This has paved the way for future space exploration and encouraged other corporations and government entities to create reusable rockets. The Dragon spacecraft, utilized by SpaceX, has also made a significant impact on the space industry through its usage on cargo and crew flights to the International Space Station. The success of this venture has shown that private enterprises can play a significant part in space research and paved the way for the eventual commercialization of space travel. SpaceX's mission of space exploration will be substantially aided by the development of the Starship spacecraft, which has the potential for Mars settlement and could significantly quicken the rate of space exploration in the coming years. SpaceX has had a profound effect on the space industry as a whole, proving that reusable rockets are possible, lowering the cost of space travel, establishing private enterprises as major players in the commercial space industry, and introducing exciting new avenues for space research. The company's dedication to research and development of rockets and spacecrafts that may be reused is anticipated to play a crucial role in the future of space travel. Since its founding in 2002, SpaceX has made a huge impact on the space industry with its goal of making access to space more affordable. The Falcon 1 is the first of numerous cutting-edge rockets built by the corporation, and it was created to provide a more cost-effective choice for customers looking to send tiny payloads into space. The Falcon 1 wasn't a complete success, but it did teach the firm valuable lessons and pave the way for the Falcon 9, a more powerful and flexible rocket that can carry heavier cargo into orbit and also act as a launcher for the Dragon spacecraft. In addition to resupply flights to the International Space Station and satellite launches, the Falcon 9 has also been used to successfully launch the Crew Dragon spacecraft for NASA's Commercial Crew program. Later on, a more powerful rocket called the Falcon Heavy was created with the intention of lifting heavier objects into orbit, such as humans to the Moon and Mars. Launching a heavy cargo into orbit with the Falcon Heavy was a huge success for the firm and paved the way for future space travel. SpaceX's objective to make space travel more inexpensive and accessible, the construction of various innovative rockets including the Falcon 1, Falcon 9, and Falcon Heavy, and the reusable technology exhibited by these rockets have all made a substantial impact on the space industry. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe to our channel.